everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I've finally got round to sitting down and starting this colour along from Fragile World by Kirby Roseanne's. So I'm going to get straight into it. We're not going to mess around today. So the page that we decided to do was this one. So as my book's ring bound, I am just going to take it out because it's going to make it easier for me, especially with the background that I'm going to do. So it just comes out like that. I'll put the book to one side. And then we've got the page. I'm going to pop some plain sheets of paper underneath just because I'm going to go straight in with a bit of a background on this one first to take that white space out. So I'm going to have to lift it up quite a bit, or maybe a bit down because I'm only doing the sky bit for now. So the background you can see that looks like sky, I'm just going to make it all sort of so it's a continuation of all the woodland we've got going on here. So I'm going to use some distress ink. Now I've not used my distress ink in quite some time, so I'm hoping that they've not all dried up. I have just done a little test and they seem to be working okay on here. So there is an alarm going off outside if you can hear that. They seem to be okay on here, so we'll see. Just to take out some of that white space. So with my distress ink, I'm going to go from light to dark. And the three colours I've picked out to use is Scattered Straw. And then I'm going to go in with a bit of tea dye, and then I've got Vintage Photo, and I thought this would be quite a quick way of getting a bit of a background in there. So if you've not got distress inks, you can use soft pastels. They work fabulously, soft pastels, and just pick out similar colours, or even go for whatever colour you fancy in the background. Completely up to you. You don't have to do it exactly the same as what I'm doing. You can be creative. So I'm going to slowly build up the colours. I'm not bothered if any of the colours go over onto the logs because it's all going to be similar kind of shades. We're going to have a sort of browns, greys theme running out throughout this page, so we're not bothered if it's going over the logs. In fact, I have even contemplated if I should base the logs with the distress ink as well and then go over the top with pencil just to make it a bit quick and easier. So I might actually still do that, but I'll just get these colours down on the background first and see where we are with that first. So it's not going to stay this yellowy shade at the minute. Straw it's called, isn't it? Straw. It's not going to stay this shade, but I will leave some lighter areas if I remember. But I do get carried away with my colours. I go, oh, I'm not going to go overboard with this. I'm not going to do that. And then I end up doing it without fail. Oh, who's ringing me? 1 second. I'm back. It's a whole half an hour later. It was my daughter's school ringing me to go and take her some paracetamol because they're not allowed to issue it. So apparently she had a bit of backache. So I took some paracetamol to her. Oh my dears, mother's work is never done, is it? Even when they're in school, they keep ringing you. But here we are, I'm back again. I thought if I don't come straight back to it, it'll never get done, this poor page. So yeah, let's get straight back to it. So I was putting this colour down. This is the Scattered Straw. Scattered Straw. And the section that I'm going to leave a bit lighter than everything else is going to be this section at the top. I'm going to see it as though the light's coming in a bit from this direction and everything down here is shadowed. So I will get the darker shades down here a lot more than at the top. Well, let's not forget in that little corner there. That's everywhere I want to go with that colour. That's covered, oops, that's covered that. So next up I'm going to go in with the mid-tone that I've pulled out, which is tea dye. It's a really nice colour, this one. It might be one of my favourite colours. So let's just dip into this one. I've dipped in with the same brush. No! I was meant to dip in with this one. Oh well. Oh well. So tea dye. Let me just test it. It's not too bad. So this isn't going to go too much darker, but you will see a little bit more of something there, but we'll have to keep dipping in. I've had this colour quite a while and I think it needs, I think you can refresh them. I think Tim Holtz sells some kind of refresher that you can spray on your distress ink, am I right? Did I watch a video on that? I think I did. I'm not all well up on it. I am bad at things like that. Rather than buy things like refreshers and I do tend to buy another of the same item, so I'll go and buy one of these rather than the refresher. I don't know. I know the refresher will be able to refresh all your distress inks, so at the end of the day it probably does save you money. But in my initial first thought, I think, what's the point in buying one of them when I can just buy a new one? But it's a long-term saving if you get a refresher, I suppose. Does anybody use that? Anybody? I've not used these distress inks for ages. And what's made me pull them out is I was recently doing my a video on my proudest pages or something, I think I called it. And one of the pages I really loved was a page in Circle of Life, and it was sort of the life cycle of a butterfly. And I did use distress inks all in the background of that, and when I was looking at it the other day I was like, oh, I should really pull those distress inks back out again, you know. So I'm going to go into the corner here and a little bit here, but then and a little bit here. So I'm going into the corners with this colour, but I'm leaving, you'll be able to see in a minute which bits I'm going to leave lighter. And it's going to be this bit here and a little bit there. So you can see I've left the initial first colour down there. And then I'm going to go in with an even darker colour right down here. So the next colour I'm going to use to deepen up all the shadows is Vintage Photo. Vintage Photo. These are the minis as well, the mini distress inks. I think they're around £5 each for the minis. And obviously the large ones are double that price, or roughly. I've gone in with the same brush again. What's wrong with me? This is the brush. Oh, just honestly, if my head wasn't screwed on, I'd forget it. That's the little saying we have going on over here in the UK, and I'm sticking with it. So right in the corners, I'm going to really deepen them up with this colour and then just buff up a little bit. So we're blending it up, but we're not blending it all the way. So it's just going to be right in the deep dark shadows. Just put that all on my hand. So down here, again, not worrying if it's going on the tree branches, not worrying if it's going on the little, I keep forgetting the name of these creatures. Don't worry if it goes on them, because these are going to be browns and greys anyway. So there won't be any problem there. Try and deepen up in between these two tree legs so it doesn't want to go. Also be careful when using distress inks, because they will, if you get water on them, it will remove the pigment. And whilst that's good if you go in for that effect, even if it's a really hot day and you've got perspiration on the ends of your fingers, if I held down the page with my fingers there now in that spot and then move my fingers, I'd remove some of the ink because of the perspiration on my finger. So just be careful, be wary when you are using them, because I've done that all too many times because I do have sweaty hands. It's not the nicest thing, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Why try and pretend that none of us sweat? Let's just try and blend around his nose a bit better. I might even get the black out. Is it too risque to go for a black to make it even darker down there? I don't know. I don't know if it is too much. And we've just got this last little corner over here by the tail, which I'm probably going to block with my hand. And then we've got to blend that carefully up here. And there we go, that's kind of where I want to be with the background. That's kind of where I want to be. I think I will put a little base on the logs, you know. It's just going to make it a whole lot easier, and then I can go in over the top with my pencils. So I'm actually going to use this darkest colour, I think. I'm going to use this, what was it called? Vintage Photo. I'm going to use it to just put a light layer in. Just a light covering over all of these logs. So you'll barely see it. I'm not going to make it as dark as I have just done down there. But I'm just going to make it so it's tinting. It's sort of putting a tint on there. You can slightly see. Don't know if it'll pick up on the camera, but you can slightly see. And over all the tree branches as well. Because why not? It's going to make our life easier, isn't it? There's already quite a lot over this one on this side. But even down here as well. So I'm going to move you up and I'm going to go over. I'm going to put that little stain of this colour over all the logs down here as well. It's just getting rid of that white space. It's going to make it easier for us. And then I can just do all the pencil detail in them. Like I say, if you've not got the distress inks, use your soft pastels. They're brilliant as well. Use your soft pastels. And now I am going to end up touching the page because I've nowhere to hold the paper down. Now we get into all the edges unless I touch him. Yeah, hold him. Hold that guy there. Let's go over here. I'm not going to be using my right hand though. That's the thing. I'm left-handed in case you hadn't noticed. So I think even these leaves, instead of doing them green, I think I'm going to just blend everything into browns and greys in the background. Yeah, I'm not feeling doing green leaves for some reason. So we'll make it a bit like a desert and everything can be browns and greys. Just this corner to do, bottom corner. I've seen gorgeous pages by Karen Zucchini Kitty. If you're not already following her, she is on YouTube, isn't she? I always see her pages on Instagram, but I think she's on YouTube. Yeah, she's on YouTube and Instagram, and she uses a lot of distress ink on her pages, and she's able to build the colours up and colour a whole page completely with distress inks. She does fabulous work with them. Absolutely amazing. So that's where I want to be with that. So it's just put a little bit of a tint on there, so it's going to be easier. I'm going to remove this paper in the background now. That'll make it look a bit nicer as well. And I'm going to move all the distress inks to the side because I do not want to use them again now. I think we're done with those. So I am going to start on one of these little guys, and I think possibly this one. So we're going to bring you in. You'll be able to see I've gone over him with a distress ink, but that's fine. Like I say, it's going to be these sorts of brown and grey tones anyway. Is my light on its fullest? Let me find out, because yeah, it's just a bit dull. I don't know what's going on with my camera angles. I'm just trying to make it, because my hands that I colour with here, I'm just trying to make it so I don't go in the frame. So I've picked out polychromos pencils for this one because I did ask people what they prefer me to use. A lot weren't bothered which pencil set I used, and a couple said polychromos, so that's what I'm going to use today. So I've got a reference picture of this little guy somewhere. So this is what I pulled off. So you can see he's got lots of grey in him, different tones. He's got some pinks coming through the ears, around the nose and feet. And I thought maybe a little bit of blue. It looks like a bit of blue grey there, so I thought if I put a light blue underneath as well, so there's some of that coming through, might be fun. So I am going to start, I think I'll map out where the pinky area is at and put that in, and then we'll go in for the blue undertones, and then we'll put the greys on top. So the pinky colours I've picked out are roll off pencils. So I've got this beige red, so I'm going to put that down first. Oh, I've got distress ink all over me. It looks like I've got dirty fingers. I've not, I promise you. And then I've got Venetian red. I'm not even going to put my hand there now. Venetian red one, aren't I? So I'm going to go in with a beige red first, and I'm just going to pop a little bit, map out a little bit of where that pink colour is going. I'm using a medium pressure because I do want to get that colour in there so that we can see where it's supposed to be, and then maybe lightening it up a bit as we go further up. A little bit of pink around here, and then on the, that's the back of the ear, isn't it? Yeah, that's the back of the ear, so you can't see the inside there, so there's no pink on that one. And then the little nose, we're gonna pop. Is this going blurry, this camera? Honestly, sometimes I wonder what it plays at. So a little bit of pinky on the nose. You can just see his little tiny toes, which will be pink. So we'll pop them in there. The tail on my reference picture, I can't really see it. Well, you can see a little bit and it looks like it's all grey, but I reckon it would have a little tiny bit of pink, maybe around the top, although I've gone over it with brown. But maybe we can just have a hint of it. Yeah, it still goes on. Maybe a bit of hint of pink throughout one side of the tail, maybe that side. So we've got something a bit different going on. And then with the Venetian red 190, I'm just going to use this around the nose, because it does look like it's got a bit of this colour going on around the nose, the very tip. It's also got some black around there, but the very tip looks like this colour. Blow that dust away. There we go. So we've mapped out where we want those pink shades, and now I'm going to go in with the blue undertone for this little guy. So we're going to use Sky Blue 146. I can't bear them dirty fingers. Ignore them. And I'm going to use this sort of all over him, really, I think, or in certain, should we just do little patches of blue? So I think just don't be too meticulous with it, because we're going over the top of this. This is just a base, so you don't have to think, oh no, that looks a bit odd or whatever, because we're going over it. So this is just going to be a hint of colour coming through from underneath. So we're going to pop some all on his head, I think, down there. I'm using a medium pressure in some areas where I really want some the colour to pop through, and then other areas I'm just going in with a very light coverage. Maybe a bit going up the ear a little bit, very lightly though there, very lightly. And then we want some on his body. So I'm not going to put any up here, I'm going to make it like further down here maybe. So where you can see the sort of patterns in the fur, just pick up on that and follow it round with some of the colour. It always looks awful at first. It's like a car crash. It's like a car crash happening. And you think, what the heck? But it'll look good in the end. I hope. Don't come for me. It looks really dodgy right now. Looks really dodgy. And then I'm going to pop maybe a little bit more around here. I think that'll do for now. So next up I'm going to go in with, I think I can see a little bit of this brown colour. You have to look very closely. And you'll see all the extra colours. So I did pop a bit of pink in his nose, but he's also got this sort of a little bit of brown going up his nose. And I think, to me, it looks like this colour, brown ochre. So I'm going to pop a little bit of this on, but I need to sharpen it because it's gone a bit, it's a bit near. So let's sharpen this one. I'm hoping to get this little guy done in this first part, at least, like the full one. So I'm going to bring some of this colour up his nose. So from where we put the pink, this is the red Venetian, and then we put the pink, and then, do I need to zoom in? And then we're going in with this a little bit up his nose, because we can always join the greys onto this as well. So that's where I spotted that colour. I also spotted a little bit of it around the ears as well, so maybe a little bit around here on the ears. If you stare at a reference picture long enough, you'll be able to spot all these little colours. When you first initially take a look, you're like, oh, that's predominantly grey or predominantly brown, but no, you spot all the little undercolours coming through. In there, and then a bit on the other ear as well. There we go, maybe a bit more of this underneath as well. And around the eyes is like deep browns, I think, and on the body I can see hints of this colour, so I'm just going to pop, it might be good if you're in frame, I'm going to pop a little bit here and there, so we'll pop a little bit around there. Around his butt. Maybe a little bit around here. There we go, I think that's it for that colour. So now what I'm going to do is block in all the rest of the white space. So everywhere we've left out now, I'm going to go in with a really pale grey. Well, I said pale, it's not, it's like a mid grey, I think, really. It's cold grey 233, and we're going to go in with a light covering all over the white space that's left. And then that's our base, and then we can start going in with our details on top, which are going to be bringing in all the darker greys. The details on top. But even if you start, even as you start bringing in these greys into those blues, you can see the nice colour that it's mixing on the paper there. Really nice. Let's just get the top of his ear. So it's been long coming, this page. I think I picked to do this page about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. It's been very busy though, very busy. You've got to have, when you start a colour along, you've got to have the time and the commitment to know that you have to film that from start to finish. So you can't sort of pick it up and put it down sort of thing as and when. How you would normally with any other colouring page, because normally you'd be able to go and sit on the couch and watch TV whilst you're doing it or whatever. You can't do that once you start a colour along. You've got to have the camera rolling. So don't worry too much about lines and how it's looking. This is all the undercolours. Because right now, you're probably thinking, that looks horrific. I always do with my colouring pages. Until I get the details on at the end. Even my paintings as well. My paintings, they have an ugly stage. I think everything does. Oh, we've been watching a new series. There's actually a new series come out that I want to watch. You know what though, I forgot the name of it. So bad. I forgot what it's called. It's another Marvel series. It's got Samuel L. Jackson in it. Is it Samuel L. Jackson? Yeah, it is, isn't it? My memory, honestly, I'm like a fish. like a fish. Terrific. Let's bring some of that grey into that blue. Again, a reindeer. Let's bring some of this grey into that blue and brown as well. I think it's near enough. Big hand being where. I think that's near enough where we want to be though with that. There we go, and then I'm going to pull this down his tail. So this grey is going to come down his little tail. I'm going to mix in those browns and pinks up there. And it does stop here, doesn't it? It doesn't go any further than that. There we go. So now we're going to go in with details. I am going to tolerate a little bit, just because we're going to end up off camera if I don't be careful. So now, I think I'm going to get the eye in first actually before we go in with details on the body. So the eye, we're going to go straight in with the black 199. And everywhere where you can see it's black on there, we're going to go in with a hard pressure. The pencil's probably going to snap on me. You can see the white of the eye, the little highlight has already been put in, but sometimes I do just like to go over that at the end with a white gel pen just to accentuate it a little bit. In fact, I might just get rid of that. Yeah, I'm going to black it out altogether. I'm going to put my own highlights in. So I'm going to put 2 little dots instead of one big one like it is on my reference picture. See how this one, it's got 2 little dots what make it look proper cute rather than a big like one like that. So I'll pop my own highlight in. Now are these scary, eh? Now are these scary. I'm going to do some little lines around the eye with this black. And then we'll blend them in with the greys in a minute. So I'm going to go in with my darkest grey that I've got out, which is dark sepia 175. It's quite tiny. And we're going to start doing some of these dark areas. So this is where I'm going to start with my flicks a little bit. So I'm going to start detailing it a bit more. So rather than, you know, straight colouring, I'm going to build up and build up on these little lines. I think one of the only things I don't like about Kerber Ozan's artwork, and don't shoot me, is the way that he does the fur on the animals, because it makes it, I don't know if it's just me, it makes it quite hard for me to colour with the way that he does it. Don't know if that's just me, might just be a me thing. Go around the eye a little bit. Accentuate above the eye those little flicks. So what we're doing is we're highlighting our darkest points, and then we're going to soften the edges, and then we'll go in with a lighter brown. But this is where the time comes from. It's quite time consuming to do it like this, but I like the outcome a lot more. I have tried doing animals in this book. I did make a boo-boo, to be honest, in this book. I did try basing one with pan pastel, and it was a black animal. What animal was it now? I can't remember what animal it was. I think it was a penguin, and I just based the whole thing with black pan pastel, and it just looked really flat and horrible. So I prefer, even though this is very time consuming, I do prefer to build up with the little fur strokes. Fur strokes, hair strokes, whatever strokes. So, has anyone been up to anything good? Anything interesting? I always ask other people. I've never done anything interesting myself, so I ask other people, like, what are you doing? You going anywhere nice? Have you been anywhere nice? Because I've not. I've not. I've just been up to the school again with some medicine for my daughter. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. I think a lot of people were watching Glastonbury on the telly the other day. If you don't know what Glastonbury is, it's where a load of musicians go and play, and it's like a concert basically. Loads of different artists, and I believe Elton John was on, although I didn't see. Elton John, Lewis Capaldi. I did see a clip of Lewis Capaldi's because they was all singing for him again, wasn't they? Bless him, because he suffers with Tourette's, which when he's anxious it means it interferes with his singing. So all the crowd were singing along to his song for him when he couldn't do it. I think it's happened a few times. Who else was on? I don't know. I've just seen little bits on social media because I didn't, like I say, I didn't have it on. Oh, was Rick Astley on? Or did I imagine that? I'm sure I saw a clip of Rick Astley. Right, so that's round the ears. Maybe a little bit here. I mean, it looks dreadful at the moment, but fear not. That's the only thing that worries me about colour alongs, is that, you know, you have to sit through the messy stage. Not everyone will sit through the messy stage. They'll skip to the end because they want to see the end result. They don't want to see the mess. They don't want to see the chaos. They want to see a nice picture. I think that's enough on the front of the face, because then these bits I'll do with light grey. I think under the eyes a bit dark, and then it goes a bit lighter. A few darker hairs down here. Do shout at the screen if my big hand's in the way. Can't promise I'll hear you. Oh, they have got whiskers. I was just thinking, I wonder if these guys have got whiskers. They're right there already drawn in. Plum Cranta. There we go, moving on. Moving on to his neck. So you can see all the darker areas are sort of the bits that Kirby Roseanne's has done. All the dark sort of hair strokes, basically. That's what I'm going over with this darkest colour. And then the bits in between will be the ones where I use the lighter greys to bring it all together. Like I say, it's time consuming, but people like to see, people like the colour alongs, so here we are. Here we are. How long have we been on? 30 minutes. I've only got another 30 minutes, guys, and then we'll have to end this part one. Will I get this done in 30 minutes? I don't think I will. It's only because it doesn't let me export more than an hour's long video, so it'll only let me film for an hour and then that's it, guys, so best get rid of one. It's raining here today as well. I can't put my washing on the line. I've been loving putting my washing on the line. Obviously saves electric if I'm putting it in the tumble dryer. Saves me money. Yeah, but it's raining. It's supposed to rain all week now as well, so I'm like wounded. Can't put my washing on the line. It's a bit mean. Let's just join that on there. Rather than sharpening the pencil too much as well, because this pencil's getting quite small now, I am just trying to turn the pencil. So I'll use it one way for so long, and then when it starts getting dull, I'll turn the pencil around and try and get the sharpest point. Oh, apologise for that cough. My son has kindly shared his germs with me. So on top of hay fever, I now have a cough and a bit of a cold. So that's just belting, isn't it? It's like double whammy. Here you go. Have this. Oh dear me. Let's get these darker bits in up here. Oh, my belly's rumbling. Not had my breakfast yet. I've been trying to be good. I must have said I've been trying to diet about 100 times. But I'm trying. I said to myself the other day, I was looking at the calendar, I was like, how long is it till Christmas? And it was exactly 6 months till Christmas the other day. And I was like, oh well, if I can just lose £2 a week, or even £1 a week, that's like, I'm at my goal by Christmas, my goal weight by Christmas. And I was like, think of all the nice little outfits I'll be able to wear for Christmas if I do it. So I'm trying to push myself. It's hard, isn't it? And people always say to you, when people say, oh, do you want to come here for something to eat? And you go, oh, I can't really, because I'm trying to be good, I'm trying to diet. And they'll go, oh, live your life, oh, life's too short for diets and all the rest of it. But I am actually feeling the effects of being overweight now. I mean, I don't look massive, but I am classed as overweight. If I put my BMI in onto one of those charts, I am classed as obese. And I do feel the effects. Like, I can feel the pain on my knees, joints sometimes. So I can, you know, I can feel that it's having an impact. It's not just like, and it's not healthy either, is it? Just eating rubbish food all the time. Because I get into a rut, and then when people say, oh no, live your life, or it doesn't matter, then I'm even worse, because then then I think, oh yeah, well, just eat it then. Just eat it. But no. So when I come off here, I've got some nice mango. I've been eating the avocado because I love avocado. Do you know, just cutting the top off the avocado and getting a spoon and literally just eating it out there. I know it's not the healthiest. It's a healthy fat. Avocado's an healthy fat, but they are quite fatty. But it's a healthy kind of fat. But I love my mango. I love mango. And melon. Grapes. I love a lot of fruit actually. The only fruit I'm not that keen on is bananas, believe it or not, because I'm very fussy with the bananas. I'm very fussy with them. I like them when they're only just ripe. When they're only just ripe and they're still bright yellow, no marks on them. They're not allowed to have any bruises on them. They're not allowed to have that pungent banana smell that they get when they're overripe. Oh, that knocks me sick. I'm sorry. That knocks me sick, that. Ugh, no. And people use them, don't they? They say if you've got overripe bananas, use them in your cooking and make banana bread or or what have you, but I can't stand the smell. As soon as they start getting that smell, I'm like, no, you're gone. As well, in the hot weather, when it's hot, as soon as your bananas start smelling like that, you get all the fruit flies as well. All the fruit flies are like, it's dinner time, and they come in your house for your bananas. Swarm of fruit flies. Ugh. Oh, can't. Can you tell I don't like bugs? I don't know if you're familiar with them, but we have in the summertime, they come out at night as well. We have what's called earwigs. They're called earwigs. They're the most disgusting looking bug. I can't. They keep coming in my kitchen from the back door, from the back garden. Make me cringe. Anyway, it's supposed to be a colour along this. What are you talking about? But you can see what I'm doing is so tedious and boring. I have to talk about bugs. But yeah, it's just about building up with this. It is, I mean, it's time consuming. I'm a slow colourist anyway, so I just like, I zone out and start dilly-dallying and just, I don't know, just take time and layering up. But once it's done, it'll look very cute. And it'll look very layered and it'll have all the depth. Whereas, you know, it won't look flat when it's done. It's not going to look flat when it's done and lifeless. It's going to look nice and fluffy and all the rest of it. And it's a good job I've got this video to look back on. Then I don't forget what colours I've used and how I've done it, because then I can do this guy without wondering what colours I put down. Because that's how bad my memory is. That's just how bad it is. I'd be like, which colour did I put down first there? Which grey did I use? Not good clear, let's just guess. I've got a frog in my throat as well. Not a literal frog. I've got a croaky voice. Courtesy of my little boy. He's given it to his sister as well, I think. Right, let's just get his very back part on here now. I think I've missed all these parts here and underneath. Let's flick out a bit down there. Big hand's in the way again. Sorry. Sorry guys. Right. I'm thinking, is that all the darker areas done? I think it might be. I think it might be, you know. So now I'm going to get a lighter grey, and we're going to go in with a lighter grey. Let me just see, I'm playing now. Does anybody else like fidget with the colouring? They're like, oh, that's done. No, let's put a bit more there, a bit more there. And they start fussing. Fussing, that's the word. Who's a fusser? There we go. So next up I'm going to use this grey. So this is Cold Grey 234. And basically we're going to go where we've just been with all that darker colour. Whoops. But we're going to bring it down further. Now this pencil, you can be, as you're coming from the colour we've just used, more of a hard pressure, and then as you're getting into the lighter areas, a bit softer. So we're going to bring another lighter grey into that area. Can put a bit more of a block colour around the ears, because the ears have less fur. It's more like a blocky colour on the inside here. Maybe a bit of something flicked up, but not much. It's more of a, let's pop some grey there at the top of the ear and blend it into the pink. And And again, blend some grey into the pink. Just makes it more natural looking. So if you have noticed on rodents and other creatures like this, I don't know if this is classed as a rodent. It looks a bit like one. They do have greys into the pink areas. You will notice. And continuing bringing some of these greys down into these browns and over the blues. This is where our blues are going to merge in a bit better, because we're going to pop the lighter greys over them. I still want some of the blue to pop through, but not harshly. Not so it looks like a blue animal, just so it's got like a tint. So you question yourself if it's there, like, is there a bit of blue on that animal? I'm going to bring some of this grey down into the brown. So you can see there it's blending in to the nose area. Again on the bottom. So that's the sort of circular motions I'm using there. I'm not doing hair strokes around here, I'm just really getting that into there. We'll continue the hair strokes at the top somewhere here. Around the eye. So yeah, everywhere we've just been with that darker colour, we're going with a lighter colour. And you can see it'll start filling out now a lot better. You can see he's a lot fuller, although we are still going in with another grey over the top of that, but you can see it's filled in a lot more of that space. We want him to be fluffy, we want him to have depth. It'll look like you can run your hand through his fur. I've never seen one of these little animals. I don't think they're in this country where we are. They're definitely not in England, I don't think. I haven't heard of them. So this is filling up as well. You can see we're filling up all the white space here as well. Still in frame. I'm doing some tapping, aren't I? Tap it in. Tap it in. Tap it in. I actually could have put even more blue. I might pop a bit in over the top of the blue colour. I'm thinking. Can you see him filling up a bit now? Looking a bit fuller. More pigmented. The polychromos are very good for things like this. For fur, I find them good. You do want to hire a leaded pencil to do this. If you're colouring along and you're picking your own pencil set to do it with, I do advise picking a harder pencil. I really wouldn't go for Prismacolor, but On the other hand, people like different pencils, don't they? I've never got on with Prismas. I'm gonna go over that brown bit there with the grey, so it's looking a bit more blended in. Same with this brown that we've put down here. I'm going to drag the grey through it so that it's just shining through underneath. It's not too bright. Excuse me. Again, pulling the colour over that brown bit there. Is this little guy looking fuller? I think he is. Let's just get this middle bit. Now on the tail, again, I'm going to go in more with some of this darker colour. We're not going to do hair strokes on the tail. The tail would be a smooth. There we go. And now I'm going to go in with another grey, this time an even lighter grey. So this time I'm going to go in, I think it was this one, Cold Grey 233 this time. And I'm just going to fill in even more of the areas that we've left out. So it's just building and building on colour until you've no white space left. After you've put all your lighter colours in, if you want to go back in with the darkest colour and pop some little strokes of dark back throughout it, you can do that. I like to do that. What day are we on? We're on Tuesday today when I'm filming this. Tuesday. So I reckon if nothing crops up tomorrow being Wednesday, I'll be able to film part 2 tomorrow. Fingers crossed. And then hopefully part 3 on Thursday, because I don't think, or have I got something? Oh, I've got something on Thursday actually. Yeah, I can't film Thursday. I've got my daughter's oh no, it's not this Thursday, it's the following Thursday, so I can film this Thursday. I tell you what, when you've got 5 kids and there's like appointments coming out your ears, you don't know where you are. No, yeah, so I can film part 2 on Wednesday, part 3 on Thursday, hopefully. So I am going to go in with one more shade of grey now, and this will be the lightest grey that we use, and this is Cold Grey 231. So I'm going to sort of fill in all the space with this now. Oh, my watch was buzzing then. I thought someone else was trying to ring me. I thought, please don't be that school again. So I'm kind of burnishing with this colour now, although I'm sort of burnishing with caution, should we say, because I don't know if I want to put a bit more of that blue in here dotted around yet. Yeah, I think I'll pop a bit of the blue, so I'm going to pop a bit more of the sky blue just in here. Just being careful, but I am going to pop a bit more of it in some areas. I'm going to go back to the grey now, so back to the Cold Grey 231. Continue to fill in what we was doing. There we go, and then as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go back in with the dark sepia 175, and I'm just going to pick out some more dirt lines just to pop in randomly to deepen some of the areas up a bit more. find shorter lines are better when you're doing this. On an animal like this, little short lines rather than long ones. Oh, my belly's rumbling violently. It really is. Just get some around the edge of the bottom. Sorry if my hand's in the way again, my big hand. There we go. I'm going to bring a little bit of this onto the tail as well in some darker areas where it'd be a bit more shadowed. So just on the very underneath of the tail. Like that. And then I'm going to pop a little bit on the nose as well. Just around there. I'm going to zoom you out, and then we're going to have a look what it looks like so far. Oh my, what are we doing with this camera angle? It's being a pain up the bottom. Now I need my gel pen because we're going to put in those little teeny tiny highlights. There's a little highlight on the nose, which is just one little teeny tiny dot. Don't know if you can see, and we've got a glare. One teeny tiny dot on the nose. See it? And then again I'm going to pop two little dots in the eyes. So there we go. Look at him. How cute. How cute. So we've got an awful glare on this light, but you can see. So that is the background, and that is one of these little creatures done. So in part 2 we're going to do the second little creature. I keep forgetting what they're called because we don't have them over here. I'm sure we don't. So we'll be doing the second one, and then all that background will be part 3. So I hope you've enjoyed watching it anyway. Like I say, these colour alongs do take time. So I hope I've not bored you to death. But there we go. So it was Distress Ink background, and then the Polychromos pencils on that little guy. So thank you so much for watching. Please hit the thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.